you.
And I guess my living room as well. I'm not going to show you around. I'm just going to pretend that I'm on stage. You know, ASAP has a lot of great sponsors. I've got one that's near and dear to my heart. And I want to thank Celexa for getting me up on camera this evening. If it wasn't for that particular antidepressant, I wouldn't be able to do comedy. I wouldn't have been able to dress myself today, and I probably would not have been able to move the 3 feet from my couch over here. So I have depression. I guess I wouldn't say that I suffer from it, but at least makes life interesting. I don't have the kind of like crippling depression that you hear people talking about. I have more of like a sprained ankle depression. People are like, oh, you're just a little sad, or need to walk it off, or drink some more water. So it's been good though. I feel good. So that's good. I used to have the emotional capacity of a slug, but now I have more like the emotional capacity of a slug who cries at the end of Fury. If any of you don't know, Fury is a World War II movie. It's kind of like Old Yeller, except with tanks. So I turned 41 this year. Thanks.
Yeah.
Not that old, but like I like to say, it's not the years, it's the miles. And as veterans and service members, if we've got anything, it's miles. I've been trying out some new things this year though, like wearing pants. Wasn't exactly a thing that we did last year. I'm starting to cook again. You know, last year when the pandemic kicked off, everybody wanted to do their duty and get their you know, we were socially distancing and everything, and when our parents and grandparents were doing their patriotic duty, you know, when the nation was at war, they do their victory gardens and they buy war bonds, and last year I feel like we all banded together and you know, invested in Grubhub and DoorDash. So another thing that I've been trying lately is learning how to skateboard. I had my first like skateboarding session in May, and I just had my second one last week. And I realized through that whole process that there's really two great times to learn how to skateboard. The first one is when you're young and your bones are still made out of rubber. And the second time is later in the fiscal year when you've already paid down your deductible.
Right.
All right, so we got an awesome lineup. You're not here for me, you're here for all of our graduates tonight. Our first up, our opening act really needs no introduction because his name is my name too. I want everybody to give it up for John Smith.
Hey, John.
You know, I use the name John Smith just in case things don't go well.
Yeah.
Because if not, I'm switching to John Doe. You know, I've been working on my bucket list, and you know, it feels like I'm counting down to death. It's like grocery shopping. I mean, first you get everything on the list, but then you have to check out. So I've been adding more things to my shopping bucket to make it heavier and harder to kick. Everything has to take at least 5 years to do. Learn to crochet an oversized sweater for Shaquille O'Neal. After I learned how to spell crochet. Learn to play Beethoven songs, but with my toes. But only with the ukulele. Travel the world to find a specialist who can help me grow dreadlocks. Like a human chia pet. You know, it's weird. I was with my OG when I got this bucket list idea. My OG is my optimistic girlfriend. She sees the glass as overflowing even when there's no glass. I'm usually the positive person, but when I'm with her, I'm Mr. OPP, old pessimistic partner.
Oh, no.
See, she's 10 years younger than me, but she's like, you're only 50 and you're halfway there. Like halfway to where? To turn into 50 again. I'm like, in 50 years, I'll be drooling all over you and wondering who you are. But she's like, oh, just like the first day we met. I tore the meniscus in my left knee. She's like, well, at least you still have your right knee. And if both knees are torn, you still have your arms, so we can hug. I wanted to see how far she would go with it. So I'm like, what if I didn't have my arms? Then you can propose from your chin. And I'll carry you down the aisle by your dreadlocks. You're like a bowling ball with hair. It's crazy. You know, I added dance lessons to my bucket list because I saw myself in the mirror and got scared. I know I'm not a good dancer because my friends grew up going to dance clubs, but I grew up going to computer clubs. They were out there jamming, but I was inside programming. And I know what you're thinking. I see it on your faces. I thought all Black people had rhythm. Well, I have algorithms. You know, they say the bucket list is really about facing your fears. Well, I think that's a little kind of off track because I'm a Marine Corps veteran with combat experience. So I'm kind of already fearless until I see a spider. I woke my little son up one morning, 5 a.m. Get up and get out of the rack. He killed a spider for me. Your left foot, your right foot, your left foot, right, left, left, step on it. He knows I'm scared of spiders, but he comes home from school singing "Itsy Bitsy Spider, contact the spider's house." What are you doing? Singing their fight song. Down. What's my rifle? It's crazy because one day we're sitting on the couch watching TV and a spider runs across the floor. We had an unplanned commercial break. It was running so fast it outran my remote. It outran the lamp.
Oh no.
It outran my son. Those things have 8 legs, but remember, I only have 2 left feet. I have 2 versions of PTSD, or a new version of PTSD, post-traumatic spider dislike. I had a dream that a spider ran across my ceiling, ziplined down in my face, and it looked at me with those 8 gorgeous eyes.
Oh.
But all I could do was run and check facing my fear off my bucket list. Thank you. I'm John Smith. My name.
All right. Thanks a lot, John. We do some brainstorming and figure out some more things to tack onto that bucket list. Maybe you'll live forever. Next on our list, next on our show is Army veteran and social worker from New York City. Please welcome to the stage or Zoom, Veronica.
Yay, Veronica!
Yay!
So when I was younger, I wasn't happy working in the private sector. And my dad, a strict Korean era veteran, got out as a private. And ironically, he wanted me to become an officer, just like the lieutenants he hated. So one day he calls me all excited. I just saw a commercial for the Army National Guard. Call them. They have great benefits and they'll pay for grad school, which is how I went from pearls and pumps to camo and combat boots.
Oh.
And now, even though I became a commissioned officer, my 86-year-old dad still outranks me because he considers himself the general. So when I first got to boot camp, they formed us up assembly line style, gave us like a dozen shots, fitted us for chemical gas masks and the uniforms that we'd be wearing for the next 10 months straight. So when the pandemic hit, I was like, awesome, I've trained for this. I mean, one vaccine, a daily for a facial mask, and yoga pants, okay, too easy. So the next stop was the barracks, and the drill sergeants were yelling, form up and dump out your duffels. Now let me explain something. My recruiter was a newbie, and he hadn't given me a packing list. So I packed what any practical-minded woman would, my bright red, fluffy Victoria's Secret bathrobe.
Makes sense to me.
So let's just say he didn't think I was an angel, and I was on the hit list after that.
Oh.
But I have to say, this shared experience brought me and my dad closer. And when the drill sergeants yelled, stomach in, chest out, when I say jump, you say how high, move it, move it, move it.
That's it.
I had like an epiphany, and suddenly I understood where my dad got his parenting skills.
Not kidding.
So while the other recruits were crying because they were homesick, I was crying because it felt like home. So like I said, it's amazing how many benefits you get joining the military. I went to school, they whipped me into shape, and I even got an unexpected bonus: PTSD and sexual harassment. But it's so crazy to me that the Defense Department still hasn't found the fix for military sexual harassment and abuse. And even with $700 billion in a budget, Uncle Sam still can't manage to keep his weapon on safe. So I really think they should up their motto to leave no man behind and leave no woman's behind.
That was a good one, yeah.
So it's hard for couples married to veterans And my late mom felt that when it comes to love, show me, don't tell me. So when my dad would tell her, I'd die for you, she'd say, prove it.
Oh. Oh, no.
So when my ex said, I love you more than anything and want you to be happy, I asked for a divorce. So that's how I got back home again. And this pandemic has been so challenging, like for many of us out there. I've gained the quarantine 15.
Oh.
So my dad is old school, which means he believes in constructive criticism. Stripes should go up and down, not sideways. It makes you look slimmer. Or that makes you look too heavy. Don't you have something else to wear? I used to think it was love, but now I'm finally woke and realize that he is the original fat shamer. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but my dad's a mean girl.
Oh. Hey.
And it's also hard dealing with an aging parent's loss of memory. So for example, the other day, my dad sat me down in my messy room and said, honey, it's only you and me now. You need to keep your room clean. Look at my room. That's how your room should look. And I said, seriously, Dad? I cleaned your room. And I thought maybe you would notice and I should just switch rooms. So like I said, it's hard living with an aging parent. My dad gets cranky and irritable and sometimes has these angry outbursts, just like a fart. You don't know when they're coming, how bad they're going to be, or how long they're going to last. So I'm sure you all have heard in the news that there's a glass shortage for liquor bottles due to the needed vaccine vials. And luckily now, many states have legalized marijuana. So people can get can get high instead of drunk. As a result, we'll probably start to see a decrease in violent crimes because we all know people who get the munchies and people who get the punchies.
Oh, God.
It made me think maybe the answer to world peace is to mass distribute marijuana.
Woo!
Yeah.
Then the only thing worth fighting for would be Doritos.
There you go. Yay.
Which is how I gained my quarantine 15 in the first place. Thank you very much.
Yay.
Going for Veronica.
Oh,
right.
beautiful.
So let's hop into a mythological airplane, go from New York across the United States. I hope that nobody has a fear of flying. You can pretend it's a train. If so, it'll just take you a little bit longer to get there. Next up, Navy veteran from San Diego, Dave Rasmussen.
Thank you.
Hey.
Thank you, Andy. I appreciate it. So everybody knows, I got my start in a comedy cruise ship. I spent 6 months seeing places like Italy, Spain, Israel, doing nothing but telling jokes. That's what I tell people. Truth is, I was just a smart-ass sailor on a destroyer. People have asked me, they say, Dave, what's it like being deployed? Did you ever get homesick? I never did. Our galley, our kitchen, the place where we ate, had home-style cooking. So my wife can't cook either. If you ever serve, you know about bug juice. It's this super sweet Kool-Aid. Think McDonald's sweet tea ×3, only in a fruit punch. How can you screw up Kool-Aid? At least at home, I had liver and onions to wash it down. About a month ago, we had the Air Force birthday. Casino that I work for, to celebrate, they decided to pass out cupcakes. I suggested pacifiers, but was overruled. When the Navy had their birthday, first off, let's hear it for the Navy. When the Navy had their birthday, I suggested beer and hookers, but got overruled again. Last Wednesday was the Marine Corps birthday. I kept my mouth shut, walked the casino floor with a box of crayons. I just asked the Marines which flavored MRE they'd like. One thing I'm really big into, though, really is ancestry and family history. I'm German, Irish, Viking, and Jewish. I can trace my German history back to 1520. On the Irish side, I come from a long line of old feck offs from County Cork. My wife and I have been married for almost 22 years now. She's from the Philippines. I'm nothing but a simple Kentucky hillbilly. But we have one rule that makes our marriage work. We can say whatever it is that we want to each other, and that's the end of it. And it works for us. I don't speak Tagalog, and she doesn't speak Southern. Bless her heart. She has, honestly, she has been trying to teach me Tagalog, and I have to emphasize trying. The other day we were at Seafood City, and it's this Filipino market that we have here, and this homeless guy walked by that smells like he hadn't had a shower since the last rain. And wait a minute, I am from San Diego, but he walked by and she pinched her nose and goes, "Babaho," which means stinky, smells really bad. So I tried it a few times, and I spent the rest of the time running around the store going, "My butthole, my butthole, my butthole."
Oh, no.
We were in bed the other night, and my wife rolled over. She says, "Honey, would you like to know how and when you were to die?" Of course, I said, "No, I want it to be a surprise to me like it is to everybody else." She just rolled over and said, "That's nice. Good night. Love you." The other day, I was walking through the hallway in my Iron Man underwear, and I'm talking the Iron Man Triathlon high performance underwear, not the Iron Man underoos for big boys style, even though I buy them. But she says, "Iron Man, more like Tin Soldier." I says, "Maybe so, but at least he stands at attention for 30 seconds before going to parade rest. And he does do the grunt work."
Oh.
Now, I've got this dog now. He's an 85-pound, 10-month-old bull mastiff pup. For him, I had a parrot. Do we have any bird lovers?
Yeah.
That one's my favorite too. Parrot went everywhere. And one day I got a call from my number 2 daughter that my grandson, Short Bus, so named because when he was coming home from school one time, he actually had to ride the short bus, and he got off going, "I short bus, I short bus." So it kind of stuck with him. But my number 2 daughter calls me up and said, "Charlie got sent home from first grade, and it was my fault." So I asked her, "What did I do? What was it this time?" And she said, "Well, the teacher told Charlie to be quiet and not talk in class, and he told her to piss off."
Oh, no.
"That's not my fault. He learned it from the parrot. Besides, he should be impressed. He did use it in the right context."
Yes, he did.
Thank you very much. Real quick, thank you, everybody, and thank you, ASAP, for this wonderful opportunity.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks a lot, Dave. We're zigzagging back across the country now, back to the Mid-Atlantic. Next up is military spouse, mother, and semi-pro baker with a penchant for setting off the smoke alarm. Only 2 times this year. So everybody put your hands together for Cricket Breinberg.
You know how they say that community is key to a happy relationship? My Zuma crew likes to dance. Our best moments happen when shaking it to Shakira. I don't know if we're crying from the pain or the salt sting in our eyes. Either way, it's a solid bonding moment. Speaking of intense pain, I'm the official assassin of pesky things in my family. Who knew? Arachnid disposal was in the mom's job description. My methods are high tech, swift, and 90% accurate. Bug zappers. Insect execution is taken to the next level. Basically, they're vibrated to death, but it's a pleasurable death. 10% of the time, I use the shoe method.
Yeah.
It has to be the right shoe. Tiny exoskeletons were getting on my Zumba shoes, and that had to go. Basically, the end result is itsy bitsy teeny weeny organic matter for my garden. My killing duties extend outside the house as well. Who knew that ordinary table salt can do extraordinary things? For instance, kills garden slugs dead.
Yes.
A salt with a lethal substance rates high on the list. Any snail will tell you it's a dreadful way to escargot. Shake a dollop of sodium chloride on those suckers, and they pull a wicked witch. I'm melting, I'm melting, I'm melting away. Hasta la vista, baby. The power of brine. Just trying to protect my garden from those produce poachers. Have you ever seen some garden fresh tomatoes? Beautiful green, full of holes. That's how slugs get in. You bite into it and it tastes like chicken. But you know, the hard part about killing plants, knowing when to stop. I'm not a sociopath.
Funny.
I'm just a gardener. So I formed a support group called Herbicide Anonymous. 12 steps. Bombo, drumba, cha-cha-cha.
So tired.
To my chagrin, those pesky plants wouldn't die. Even the black thumb of death wouldn't work. Now I'm growing mold and selling it for cultures. It's a nice side hustle. Designer penicillin at your local chic garden boutique. I call it Farmers Market Mold. I got arrested at the farmer's market because I was disturbing the peace with some farm folks. We had a hoedown. Hate when that happens. But I totally dig my fellow farm vendors because they're tech savvy, also a little cute, and they're organically smart. Speaking of smart, I married the boy next door. Trust me, long distance relationships aren't that hard. So I turfed the net for glitches, found none. Never a dull moment in our household. Tickle pickle maybe? Just found that one person who makes me whole. Even had a few fruitful interactions of soil and seed. Yeah. And now, basically what's happening is it's appalling that a gardener like me suffers from hay fever and ragweed. So I went to my local garden center from Sage Advice. They recommended bulbs. but I don't think so. I don't want those slugs with a visible runway to my garden. I'm using my Shakira poster as a scarecrow, but it's not working. Those Gen Z squirrels have taken up Zumba and want me to teach the class. Still working on my education, just trying to set a good example for my kids. In fact, I'm pursuing a PhD. That's plant harm destruction in ag and botany to cover all the bases, to thwart my plant killing and sluggish skills. As a charter member of Pest Management Annihilation, our motto is too much organic fertilizer will burn plants. Imagine scorched earth. Pretty sure the prof won't appreciate my terminating slug methods. Who would? Speaking of terminating, it's time to squash this set.
Aw.
Don't make me get out my right shoe.
Alright. Happy cricket. You're gonna wear out that right shoe a lot faster than the left one.
I know. It's like, and they're fairly new. My sister gave me these. Who knew that they would become a prop? I'll have to tell her about that.
How we all doing, everybody? All right. We're staying on the East Coast for this next one. And up next, we got an Army veteran from Philadelphia. Put your hands together for Jeff North Philly.
Hey, I have a love and hate relationship with chocolate milk. I know. I mean, the fact that I'm lactose intolerant, you would think that that it would actually like play a factor, but no, I'm willing to risk it all for chocolate milk. You know, I was that naive little boy, you know, coming up. I actually thought that chocolate milk came from a brown cow. Hell no, I'm brown cow. But I'm getting older now. You know, I'm no spring chicken. I'm getting up there, and I got anxiety, and I'm paranoid, man. I'll be honest. I'm to the point now where I won't even wear white underwear. Can you believe that? I keep having this vision in my mind that I'm just cruising down the street in my 6'4", and I get into a fender bender. And fast forward, you know, get to the story. I find myself talking to this nurse, and with this stupid look on my face. I'm like, I was in an accident, and she's like, I know, sir. I can tell by the skid marks. I'm like, damn you, white underwear.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of a story that my mom used to tell us when we were coming up. She would always tell us, you know, old school mom. She was like, hey, just make sure whenever you leave the house, make sure that you are wearing clean underwear. And I'm like, I'm young, I'm dumb. I'm like, yeah, whatever. You know, like they're going to have a checkpoint or something set up at the hospital, you know? Like they're going to reel me in, and they're going to be like they're going to do a point by point thing where they're going to say, hey, is his vitals good? And I'm like, yeah, his vitals are good. Does he have insurance? Yes, he has insurance. Did you check his underwear? I'm shaking my head, I'm sitting there, and I'm thinking to myself, my mom was right. My goodness. So now it's just like, I'm to the point now, it's, I don't know, when I think about it, it's like, I'm thinking in my head, man, what's really going on now as I get older now, you know? And I'm gonna give you guys the real reason why I stopped drinking chocolate milk. Okay, to be honest, to be perfectly honest, it makes me gassy. Okay. I'll be perfectly honest, like just last week, I let one go in church. I know. And it stunk. It stunk so bad. I had to get up and testify. I got up and I said, it's like fire. And the choir got up and they were like, shut up in my bones. And I was like, okay, let me try this again. It's like fire, shut up in my bones. And for some reason, somebody handed me a microphone. And I was like, Holy Spirit, activate. So I was like, it's like fire, shut up in my bones. It's like fire, shut up in my bones. I can feel it in my stomach. I can feel it in my toes. When I let out that fart, I can feel it in my nose. It's like fire, shut up in my bones. And oh my God, it was festive, people. It was festive. We made so much money that, I mean, they gave me my own bathroom. And I got baptized. You talk about a 2-for-1. Wow, that was a glorious day. That was a glorious day. Very glorious. So I thought about calling it the Boom Boom Room. No, I'm thinking to myself, that doesn't sound pretty, you know, like a good way to call it in the sanctuary, you know? This is the house of God, you know. So me and my friends, we started brainstorming, and I think we came up with the perfect name for the room. Okay, we decided to call it Deuteronomy. Okay, has that religious ring to it, and you know, sounds like a good place to come and lay down your burdens, and sounds like a place of refuge, you know. A really good place to be, okay? And you can also come down, like I said, you can come down and lay down your burdens, and you can also be blessed at the same time. That's my time. My name is Jeff, North Philly. Appreciate you guys.
All right.
All right, keep it going for Jeff. Jeff, you could call it Exodus because it's the #2 book in the Bible.
I like Exodus.
That's the first half of our show, people. I'm handing over to the reins to a very good friend of mine, my co-teacher, very good friend, and co-Indianapolis resident here, Monica Daly.
Hi.
Hi, Monica.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Yeah, I'm excited. When I moved to Indianapolis, I grew up in Northern Virginia and the DC area, and I said I'm moving to Indianapolis, and everybody said, why?
Yeah, why?
And then I got here and I told everybody I just moved here from the DC area, and they all went, why? And apparently the answer is because I didn't know how many Walmarts I needed until I moved to Indianapolis. Apparently you need 3 within a 3-mile radius of each other. There is a Walmart grocery store that only sells groceries. I did not know that was possible. It's across the street from a super Walmart, which also sells groceries. And it's down the road from a Menards, which is just a Walmart with wood. It is very weird. One of the things I did miss when I moved here, I moved just before the pandemic. I do not recommend doing that. I haven't really gotten to know the city yet. And one of the things I left behind was my knitting group. And I love my knitting group because I could say that I was exercising. Apparently knitting is a new form of exercise. It's like yoga. It gives you a meditative state, right? And my group was made up primarily of myself and 70 to 80-year-old women. And if you do not have a pile of 70 and 80-year-old women in your life, you should get some. They are awesome. Also, when you're 50, they make you feel really young because they just keep handing you their phone and going, I don't know what happened. I've had the same picture of my grandson on the phone all week and I can't make him go away. And I'm like, you just have to, and you're like magic. But one of the things they taught me was everybody told me when I got to 50, I would stop giving a flip. And it turns out that flip has switched, right? And so that was great. What I have learned from them is I will no longer have an inside voice when I hit 83. Inside voice anymore. We knit in a Panera surrounded by people who keep walking up to us going, is it knitting? Are you knitting? Is that knitting? Are you knitting? Are you knitting? My girls are super sweet, right? They're like baby blankets, hats for the homeless. I'm always like thong. Like if you use the glow in the dark yarn, you can chase that thong around for a while. It's good. But because we're knitting and we're in a group and they don't think anybody else can hear us. I'll be with them somewhere and they'll be like, Monica, why doesn't that baby have a hat on its head? What, Joanne, do you have an extra baby hat in your bag? Why doesn't it have a hat on its head? It's cold, doesn't it? No. Monica, go find out. And I'm like, Lucille, we're in church. It's a baptism. Calm down. I love them so much. I love them so much that I lost my husband in 2019. Now, he didn't die. He's just dead to me. But I told all of them in a moment, this is not for pity and it's certainly not for applause, but shortly thereafter, I also lost both of my parents. They did die. So they're dead to everybody. Yeah, no, it's sad. It's hard to be an orphan when you're 50. I'm still looking for my sugar daddy because that's what I learned from Little Orphan Annie, that I would get one. Apparently I have to become my own, which seems But I told all of them, I said, girls, here's the deal. Here's the deal, girls. We were all very sad, of course, when my mom died. She was like a clubhouse captain for these women. And I went, when I get remarried, and that like perked their ears up like collies. And I was like, I'm not dating anyone. There is no one. Like, we're not answering that question. But when I get remarried, you girls will be my bridesmaids. I expected awe. What I got was a list of demands. Immediately. And I'm not saying like they thought about it. I'm like saying they all turned and like asked me, they're like, can we make our own dresses or have our own dresses or pick their own colors? Yeah. Can we wear a fascinator like they did in the like we have little funny hats like they did in the wedding? Yes. Can you get on the stick so we're all alive? Seemed a little rude. So I've told them this is why they have to stay healthy. Otherwise, I'm going to have a pile of ghost maids. We're going to pour out a little Geritol for everybody who couldn't make it. But I'm glad you all could make it. You guys are doing great. A big hand for making it through the first half. Our comics, they're hilarious. Bringing the next one up, also from the San Diego. She's been amazing. She is also a real people puzzler. She's just been great. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Erin G.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much. I wanted to point out my hair. If you guys can see, I'm a brunette now. I just colored my hair. I was blonde last Thursday and have not since. But But anyways, I'm bilingual. Sometimes it's hard to tell when you're blonde and you've got green eyes if you're bilingual or not. But anyways, I was in Mexico last weekend actually, and San Diego is a border town, so I'm right by Mexico. I was down there, and then when you're crossing back, I mean, it's like 40 minutes or 4 hours. There's really no in between. And I just happened to be there about 4 hours. It was a nice day. But I'm looking around and I start just taking in the sights, and I noticed that there was this big, beautiful picture of roosters, like these 2 roosters. Now, these roosters were in battle stances, and then I realized I'm in Mexico. Yeah, these are cockfight. These are gamecock. Like, these are roosters that are about to fight. They're going to do it to the death. They don't know that. That's why they were smiling in the photos, but they're going to do it to the death, right? So these gamecocks, they're going to fight. I start thinking, like, why are you guys, like, how do they make them so mad? They're so mad. Like, how does that happen, And then I start, of course, because I have time, I'm sitting there and I'm like, maybe he took his favorite spot up on the roof, maybe he's mad about that. Or maybe they're starving these guys. Maybe they're hangry. Like, maybe that's what it is, or maybe he caught him checking out his chick. Not cool, what a jerk, And then I really started thinking, I'm like, wait. Why do we call them roosters if it's a cockfight? Hello. So it turns out cock is the actual right word. It's a cock. A cock is an adult male chicken. And that word was banned in 1776 because it was, inappropriate or whatever. But that's the word. The word is cock. It's an adult male chicken. A young male chicken is called a cockerel. That's a small cock. Okay. So just a little pecker. So those ones, they don't get to throw down. Yeah. Those don't get to fight, so that happened. Definitely. Yeah. Thinking about this, cockfighting and whatnot. Oh, here's another fun fact, because I was on Google. I might as well just go through with it. Roosters don't have penises. That's ironic, right? That's pretty ironic. I'm not making it up, guys. It's for real. But anyways, as I mentioned, I was in Tijuana, which is a border town to the United States, actually. So I'm here, and I'm like, love just being over to San Diego just like that. And San Diego's beautiful. I don't know if you guys have been out here, but there's beautiful sights, there's beautiful houses and cars and brunettes, just there's just beauty everywhere. What's not beautiful out here, though, is dating. Dating is not beautiful out here. Everything's online, everything's online. If you're not on a dating app, chances of you meeting somebody organically at the grocery store, they're pretty low because, social distancing, stranger danger, that kind of stuff. However, chances of somebody sliding into your DMs on Facebook, they're pretty high. They're pretty high. You don't want to pay for a dating app, so the guy's like going through your friends list and just setting friend requests, and you're like, I'm gonna accept it, but come on, dude. Just because we've got mutual friends doesn't mean we've got mutual interests, Nonetheless, I'll go on the date. It's fine. I'm hungry. I'll go on the date. One guy did jump in and he invited me out to dinner, and I show up to dinner. This guy's wearing sweats. Who wears sweats on a first date? Like, that's just a no-no. It's not right. You know what? The chances of you scoring if you're wearing sweats on a first date are slim to none. I told him that the next morning. So I was like, next time. They weren't even gray. They weren't even gray sweats. Oh God, no. Well, actually, he wore gray sweats on the second date. I thought I'd give him another chance. And let me tell you guys, just like minimum height at an amusement park for rides, there's a minimum size requirement for gray sweats, gentlemen. I'm sorry, it's sweater weather. It is not kind to you. We know about shrinkage, okay? Just saying. Don't wear the gray sweats if you got a cockerel, okay? Let's just not. We're paying attention. But yeah, definitely. I was dating a guy not too long ago. I'm single because I date men. I'm single still, of course, but I was dating someone, and this guy, he just had horrible communication skills. He was just like, hey, guess what? I went to dinner with my brother. We went to the Turf Club. It's in Golden Hill. It's a family-owned steakhouse where you pay for and grill your own steak. They have got a great selection of whiskey. Okay, that sounds amazing. I mean, and I hope you had a good time at dinner. 2 days later, he says, I'm going to go to dinner with a friend of mine. You know where we're going? We're going to the Turf Club. It's in Golden Hill. It's a family-owned steakhouse where you pay for and grill your own steak. They've got a great selection of whiskey. Okay, man, come on. How many chicks are you talking to, dude? How many? I still haven't been there. But I'm going to go and I'm going to demand a great whiskey selection. You know what? I should have paid attention because that guy showed up in gray sweats. He showed up in gray sweats. Yeah. I found out he had a cockerel. You guys, we're still friends. We don't date anymore. We're still friends, you guys, on LinkedIn. So that's good. He knows where I worked 7 years ago. I was blonde then. I was blonde. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for your time.
All right. Thank you so much, Aaron. Coming up is someone local to me. He's been great. I know one of the goals of his life is to go on a 1 month long survival course. And I think for him, this has been that. He's been great. We've really enjoyed having him in class. He's very funny. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Earl Villanueva.
So I recently deployed with my National Guard unit to Washington, D.C. Earlier this year. And when we arrived, we were constantly reminded to, be on the lookout. There's people out there who just do not like people in uniform. They'll come up to your face and try to start something. So you see something, say something. Well, so one day I was walking and I noticed one of my soldiers. Face was all bloody, he had black eyes, and he was holding his arm, clearly in pain. I was like, hey, Private Sandoval, what happened to you, man? You get in trouble? Did you get beat up? Well, then my soldier goes, no, sir, I fell off a scooter. I said, a scooter. You fell off a scooter. And at this point, I realized, I found the enemy. I know it wasn't some crazy nut job. The enemy was boredom. It was getting bad. I was losing soldiers to scooter accidents, squirrel attacks, baby mama drama. Bunch of craziness going on. I was just looking forward to being back a civilian. My civilian job, I sell cars for a living. I do enjoy it, but I kind of have a feeling that my parents, they just think I'm not living up to their expectations. Last Thanksgiving, I remember we had family and friends all over, and I noticed my mom, she would always introduce me as Earl, the Army veteran. She would never introduce me as Earl, the car salesman. And I'm like, Mom, I need referrals. The kind of business that we in, it's word of mouth. But no, I do enjoy my job, but compared to my brother and my sister, they're just doing way bigger things than I am. My brother, he got his computer science degree from Georgia Tech. He works for a global company, making sure millions of dollars, the transactions are safe and secure. My sister, she got her nursing degree from Johns Hopkins University. She works at a children's hospital. She saves lives every day. And then there's me, Earl, the car salesman. I can save you 5% off MSRP.
That's cute.
But they're not as funny as you.
I do like my job. I do like my job, but there's just some aspects of it that I just hate. I hate it when people don't answer the phone. They don't pick up the phone. The way that it works is if you reach out to us, I have to call you back and I have to get an answer. Yes or no, buy or die. I can't stop. People just don't answer their phone. It's so frustrating. It ends up being like the start of a bad relationship. like the first call I'm sending out, I'm like all cheerful, happy. I'm like, hey, how's it going? This is Earl. Got your request. Can't wait to meet you. Give me a call back. Let's set something up. 2 weeks later, I still haven't returned my call. I get a little bit desperate. I'm like, hey, Earl here again. You know, I know you're pretty busy, but just give me a call back. Day 90, you still haven't returned my call. I'm like full-blown stage 5 clinger at that point. I'm like, I know you get my voicemails. What is the deal? Give me a call back. But yeah, the point I'm trying to make here is I got into stand-up comedy just for all my salesmen out there, just to let you guys know to pick up your phones. I'm Earl Illinois, but thank you.
Oh, that's great.
Great job, Earl. I'm good though. I have a car. It's fine. I'll let you know.
I really need your calls, Earl. I'm really lonely.
Well, we're going to move on, but Earl, I think you have at least a type of sale. Chat. We're going to continue with the Indianapolis theme, and also someone who traveled from the East Coast to Indianapolis, just like Andy and I did. Come on, make it a thing. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the very funny Rowan Crowley.
So I turned 30 and decided I was too old for kids, but not too old to date. The problem with that is finding someone who's, on the same page with my philosophy. And I got lucky. I found a unicorn. I have a girl that's wonderful. She's beautiful. She's smarter than me. She's hotter than me. She has no kids, and she wants to keep it that way. She's the goalie on my soccer team because she's a keeper. Oh, God. Yeah, those dad jokes just slip out now. I mess up. I let her meet my self-appointed family planner. You see, the way my mom does math, me plus any girl must equal pretty grandbabies. They hit it off really well, which is always good. They actually had a weekend getaway, girls trip or whatever you want to call it, and it turns out that was a train the trainer course and getting Rohan to do things he doesn't want to do. I shouldn't have been surprised. A year later, she's now changed her tune. She's like, well, I'm not against having kids. I'm like, I'm open to compromise. I'm not against you being single again.
Yeah,
I did the math. At my age, if she's single, I'm single too, and well, we're back where we started. But I thought that was the end of it, till we hit our 2-year anniversary, and she comes up with a compromise. She says, I think we should adopt. I thought this matter was closed, but I immediately just started entertaining it. I'm like, well, if we adopt, they come pre-trained, they can use their words, they can wipe their own butt. But if I got to deal with puberty, attitude, sick days, I'd probably rather it be my own flesh and blood. Ooh. No.
Oh.
Can't say that out loud, you tricky devil. I know a trap when I see one. Turns out she's talking about a dog. And compromise was really just her way of letting me know that she had decided that we were getting a puppy. So my relationship's pretty strong. So we end up getting a greyhound straight off the racetrack. Our little noodle pony was named Cinnamon. I'm not saying that's a stripper name, but I wasn't too surprised with all the glitter I found in her paws. So for anyone that wants to adopt any sort of like retired racing animal, you should probably know a few things. One, these are basically unregulated Division I athletes, which basically means they're allowed to use steroids, and their coaches and everybody want them to have, you know, well-developed glutes and hamstrings, and well, you know, it just makes them faster. And it was awkward because, you know, Cinnamon showed up with a big old booty. It was just. Yeah. She did not skip leg day. In fact, my girlfriend was a little bit intimidated and has compulsively started doing air squats ever since we met. She's a keeper. Other things, they give these animals speed, well, you know, for speed. And then they're not really pets up to that point. So they're like, you know, unsocialized, really scared and skittish. So Cinnamon just basically Velcroed herself to my hip until we got home. But let's take a quick inventory of this situation. Cinnamon shows up, named Cinnamon, in withdrawal from speed, glitter on her paws, big old booty, attachment issues. Oh, and remember when I said pre-trained? She's experienced in using her body to make people money. All right. So, fine, I'm gonna be a doggy daddy. Ain't no child of mine gonna have a stripper name. I mean, the top speed of a greyhound is 50.1 miles an hour. Can you imagine me looking for her? Like, just if she gets, she can legally run on the highway, and I'm out here like looking for this lost dog. Pardon me, sir. I'm looking for my bitch. Natural blonde, big booty, attachment issues. Answers to Cinnamon. No, officer. I'm not her pimp. I'm her daddy. No, not her sugar daddy. She's a bitch. Like, no, not like a spiteful woman. Like she's a dog. No, not like she's ugly. Like she's quite adorable. She's only 14 in women years. Why are you taking out your handcuffs? Behind my back. Yes, sir. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, we got to figure out what to call her. Like, I don't know, she's skittish. Call her Skittles. Like, no, that's a ditzy stripper. Candy? We're back where we started with Candy. You know, she's my baby girl's better than that. Like, at age 2, she's like a precocious 5-year-old. She knows please and thank you. She knows left and right. She only barks when mommy and daddy are ready for a walk, or when mommy and daddy are ready for chow, or when mommy and daddy are engaged in some family planning activities. She barks a lot during that one, yeah. Sorry, honey, you can't come this time. Maybe I should name her Yaz, or some other birth control, which it turns out most of those are actually named after strippers. So we're back where we started. Anyhow, you know, we say in the military, if you can't be smart, be strong. And you know how you get adopted off a Greyhound racetrack? Lose every single race. And that's exactly what she did. Yeah. At least we know she's not racist.
Oh, that's a dad joke.
I'm being trained. Thanks a lot, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Rowan. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited. The final comic is everybody in class, I think you agree, has been amazing. And I'm really excited. This will be your last comic. And then please don't leave us. We're going to need your applause and we're going to want you to listen. But right now, I want you to pay attention to a really funny dude. Put your hands together for Justin Edwards.
You guys like true crime? I love true crime, but I don't like what it's done to my brain. It's kind of sneaky, you know. It crept up on me because I've worked alone in my last couple of jobs, and I started listening to true crime podcasts to fill the shifts, and I'm like, this will be great. I'm interested in psychology and criminology. Maybe I can learn how to prevent crime and better understand the human condition. fast forward 8 years and I'm listening to a serial killer podcast and critiquing his technique. I don't know why you would. I don't know why you would bury them on your own property. I mean, I know you own that windowless van because they mentioned it in episode 3, and I looked up your house on Google Maps, and it turns out there's an abandoned quarry like 5 miles. And I'm like, why am I helping him? Like, why am I thinking like this? Maybe if I hadn't uploaded 9 terabytes of cults and murder to my brain 6 to 8 hours a day, 5 days a week for a decade, I wouldn't have become an armchair murderer. My wife's an armchair murderer too, because she also willingly gave herself brain worms. And I like watching murder shows with her because it builds trust, you know. I can't tell you how many times we've been watching Dateline or 2020 where the guy's on his 4th clumsy wife to fall down the stairs. One of us will turn to the other and say, I promise I'm never going to murder you. And then proceed to describe the most perfect airtight murder plot you've ever heard. I mean, they're so good it would be irresponsible of me to tell you right now, but trust me, you get away with it. It builds trust because we know we're not going to kill each other, but we do know what each other would be capable of if things went a little off. It's like a Cold War standoff situation. I mean, nobody's going to cheat on the criminal genius. Nobody's going to pawn the Unabomber's wedding ring. And to be honest, her ideas are so good. If she did kill me and get away with it, I'd be in the afterlife like, damn, good one. I literally never would have expected scorpions in the washing machine. Cults. I know so much about cults. Not only do I know how to not get tricked into joining one, I know how to start one, like step by step, like even down to logistics. Do any of you know where to rent 50 silk robes on short notice? Do any of you know how to get zoning clearances for a fortified compound? People don't think about it, but that's why most cults fail. Bad corporate structure. If I had any advice for anybody investing in a cult startup, I would say you need a competent support staff so the leader can shine. The leader needs to be meditating on the coming aeon of the great veiled one, not learning how to use stamps.com. Y'all think there's anyone out there who's y'all think there's anyone out there who's a non-practicing Illuminati member? like a lapsed Illuminati guy? You know, like as a kid, they have a personal relationship with the Dark Lord, but as a teen, they get bored and jaded and go on Black Mass. So after they move out of their parents' mansion, they only show up for the holidays, like the Bohemian Grove or the Kanye album release party. He's coaching his girlfriend before his cousin's first sacrifice. Come on, you only got to wear the goat mask for 2 hours. Do it for my mom. I love that stuff, conspiracy. I've been into conspiracy theories since I was 15. And I love them because they're so creative. They're like a collaborative schizophrenia. But I like artisanal mental illness, not this new mass-produced Costco brand crazy.
Oh.
It's too easy, too mainstream, too readily available. Today, any random person can open Facebook and see something bonkers. It used to take drive, ambition, and the whole weekend. I had to work hard and invest to fill my brain with the ravings of madmen. I used to have to ride my bike to the library, get on dial-up internet, ask Jeeves to find the sketchy website of a clinically insane man, send him my address in a self-addressed stamped envelope, along with $2, and he would send me a handmade Xerox brochure with complicated diagrams explaining that the Earth is inside out or whatever it is. Now I can't check my phone without getting an email from my Aunt Trudy telling me to boycott Purina because it's turning the dogs bisexual. She used to send me gospel videos and cornbread recipes. Now she's forwarding me recruitment materials for QAnon. Hey Trudy, you didn't earn that crazy. That's stolen valor. I'm snobby about it. I'm like a conspiracy hipster. Like when people say I saw Nirvana in a dive bar with 8 people. I'm like, I used to chat on AOL with that guy who turned blue from drinking colloidal silver. Jealous. And I like to dunk on these newbies because I think they're blowing your mind. Please. This year on 9/11, the cashier at the grocery store asked, "What do you think happened to Building 7?" I said, "Who do you think sunk the Lusitania?" Yeah, that's right. Now back at my tinfoil, Junior, I got hats to make. Thank you. I'm Justin Edwards, and I promise I'm never gonna murder you.
Justin, oh my God.
Oh my God is right. Really, Andy and I have had such a pleasure working with this group. They are a great class. I will tell you, they're a great class in and out of class. They've been we've been very lucky. They're very supportive of each other, and I'm so glad you came out to support them. In that way, I am also thrilled that I get to continue to support ASAP, even though I am now in Indiana. And I want to turn it over to a member of the ASAP staff who's going to talk to you as we close out the show. Ladies and gentlemen, please, Jessica Smoot.
Thank you all so much. This was such a wonderful show. You guys were hilarious. And thank you to the audience for turning off your mics and laughing and having such a great time. It was so wonderful to see. I wanted to share with you a little bit of information about our What's Next campaign. So this wonderful performance was put on by ASAP, as you know, and through our mission, we are able to provide these wonderful free classes for our veterans in our military connected community. So if you are able to support to our What's Next campaign and donate whatever you can to support ASAP and our classes, please do so. I will be sharing the link in the chat. And I'll also be sharing my email as well. So if you're ever interested in joining us for a workshop or a class, you're able to do so. And thank you guys again so much for joining us for the show. And I'll be sending in the link right now.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.